I was trying to spell the word intruder, and I stupidly was writing intruder. I was like, I'm so thankful for Grammarly.
Right? Oh, man. I used to work for a newspaper for 20 years. And one year we got invited to, they called it a celebrity spelling bee, but I mean, it was just local businesses. You know how that is. And they were like, oh, yeah, the newspaper's got this in the bag. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at them like, we use spell check.
Yeah, right?
Can't live without spell check.
We all just ended up getting really drunk and not really doing very well. We were more
God bless
focused.
spell check.
We were more focused on bidding on the hot hockey players that we could bid on for our team. That was our main focus.
That is pretty important.
That is very important.
I'm telling you what.
I've just
Find
sent
a
you
cute
the picture.
hockey player with all their teeth.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way to go.
Absolutely.
But to find them with all their teeth.
I know.
That's the thing.
Right? Well, then
It's
at
like-
that place, does that mean that they're not a good player if they have all their teeth?
Pretty much. You're a good hockey player if you've lost some teeth or you have fake teeth.
So essentially, you'd be dating a water boy.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, yeah, probably.
The team, what is it? The team manager?
Mm-hmm. Hands out towels.
Yep.
Calms them down whenever they get thrown in a timeout. You know, that whole thing. Oh, man.
Hey, this is Alicia.
This is Melissa.
And this is Dark.
Today we have a special guest. Welcome, Christina from Red Rum Cosmetics. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. This is very exciting. Been sitting in the studio all morning, anxiously waiting. Just like, trying out my different voices. Should I talk a little bit higher or lower? Let's figure it out.
Just talk.
Should I do my customer service voice or do my regular voice?
Hi, this is Karen. No.
So tell us a little bit about Red Rum Cosmetics and how you came up with the idea.
That is a long story. Okay. So Red Rum Cosmetics is a true crime inspired cosmetics company. I came up with the idea through kind of like just a series of different little bugs that were kind of planted in my head. So it started with listening to Bailey Sarian like religiously all the time.
We totally
watching her makeup tutorials and stuff. You know, I've always been interested in talking about different things, and a lot of my close friends got really into true crime. So like I had already been watching her, listened to some murder podcasts. My best friend is like super into Stay Sexy, Don't Get Murdered. I forget what their podcast is called, and I'm so sorry. But he's definitely a murderino. He like is obsessed, him and his husband. And so I would just talk with them a lot about different true crime things. And I've always watched, you know, like Dateline or different things like that. And when I got a position in the beauty industry, I was kind of just watching different people and how much money they were spending on different things. And, you know, with having the true crime little nugget in my brain, I was like, you would be an easy target. This person right here is not even paying attention. This guy and just do whatever, you know. And it's just these crazy thoughts came in my head. And at the time I was also doing kickboxing, and they were pushing us to do like Cobra, like women's defense courses. And then I told you this was a long story and I apologize.
That's okay.
It's fine. Go for it.
But like all of these thoughts were going through my head. And then I was watching some show on Netflix about ballerinas, and the one guy was like, I'm going to do a Jack the Ripper show instead of the Nutcracker. And the guy was upset. And he's like, that's too outrageous for our school. He's like, you don't put lipstick on a serial killer to make them more friendly. Because at the end of the day, they're still a killer. And I was like, that's a great idea. I was like, somebody should do that. So I started playing around with the picture of Charles Manson. And
Yeah.
I was putting some makeup on him, and I was like, you know what? I was like, this would be kind of a cool idea. I want to say a few days following that, I came across an article that was titled "The Human Cost of Binge Watching True Crime TV" by Time Magazine.
I read that article.
Yeah.
And it just kind of hit home. It talked about how a lot of the families with like the solved crimes and stuff are kind of like faced to relive it. It's like everywhere they go, they're kind of just having to relive that horrible incident in their life, that tragedy. So it kind of made me start thinking. I was like, you know, what if our obsession with hearing it, you know, is a negative connotation? So I got into a conversation with my friend Marissa about it, and she pretty much broke it down. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe she did take it from, I wish I could remember their names. I can't believe I'm going blank. I'm going to look them up real quick.
Okay.
My Favorite Murder podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know why I was blanking on it so hard. She had said it to me that she had heard someone say, people watch true crime because they want to know how to survive something somebody else did not.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I can see that
That's
for sure.
deep.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? It just kind of clicked. And then I was like looking at the different podcasts, and there's like not to kind of talk down about like podcasts or like true crime, but like they're a dime a dozen. Like there's a lot of them, right? So I was looking at like, what are the ones that kind of stand out and why do they stand out? And with, being a fan of Bailey Sarian, I was like, makeup touches a lot of demographics. Like there's such a broad range, and it could be anything. Like just about every female I know wears foundation. In St. Pete, we have a large gay LGBTQ community that uses makeup, and they all use different brands and different types. And some use more special effects, some use more everyday makeup. There's girls here inside the artist studios where I work out of, along with Dylan Top Photography, who do more cosplay. And I was just thinking to myself, like all of these demographics on all these people, a lot of them follow true crime. And so that's where kind of the birth of Red Rum Cosmetics came from. So it came from like a mix of all of these ideas. And I sat down next to my friend Dylan and his husband, and I was like, listen, this is going to sound crazy, but I'm going to put Manson in some lipstick and blush, and I'm going to put him on something, and I'm going to make a company. So we just kind of brainstormed different things and talked about legalities, and talked about like really what I wanted to do. There's a book by Simon Sinek called Starts With Why, and it kind of makes you look at your life and think about, what is my purpose in life? It diverts you from attaching it to a person, place, or thing. For me, what I found is that my purpose was to help people. That's where I feel like I'm in my flow. It's just something where I can lose track of time. It doesn't matter what it is that I'm doing with somebody, I'm helping them. And I knew that that was something big and what I wanted to do. I kind of came up, with wanting to work with different people and solving cold cases, because I feel like it's extremely important. And for those families, that story hasn't ended. They are still living it because they haven't gotten their happy ending. They haven't gotten a solution or an answer. So that was really important to me to kind of shine light on that, even if they're super old cases, like the families might have been passed away, but they're still living relatives that are like, hey, this crazy thing happened. We want to know what happened.
Exactly. I can understand that completely. Yeah. That's awesome. That's really awesome that you came up with this idea.
Yeah. So I kind of went with that, and I knew that I wanted to do as much as I could with sustainability within reason. Obviously, the more I grow, the more that I'm going to tackle those different things as well. But the goal was to kind of create more vegan friendly cosmetics, obviously all cruelty free, and to branch into the special effects realm. So that is my next venture once I get a little steam behind us.
It makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. And
That's awesome.
I will say your colors of your lip stains are just absolutely amazing.
Thanks.
Absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Thank
Like,
you.
You have a gray that I am like gunning for.
That orange is just something else. Like I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I'm in love with the liquid lipstick. That was actually my first samples that I got with the liquid lipstick. And there's a color called Love Bite that I have not. I'm just obsessed with it, to be honest with you. I've tried it on multiple different skin tones. It has more of an orangey undertone, but it is just like amazing. And I'm a natural ginger. Like I'm a natural redhead. Red typically does not pair well unless it's like a deeper, heavier red. But this one is just like blam. Like
I'm all about a red lipstick.
Like it's
I'm
bold.
all
It's not
for a red or a red and black like together, like ombre lip.
And it's not pinky, which is one of the biggest thing I find with like red lipstick is a lot of times it like over time it gets kind of pinky. And with the Love Bite, it's not all of the liquid lipsticks are a demi matte. Some are, you know, just regular or smooth, but this one is a demi matte. And I was like going ham on some pizza and I still had lipstick on.
Yes, that is the hardest thing to do, especially with reds, is to make it last while you're eating or drinking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it always seems to like want to fade on me. Like my lips are very weird. I was born with a cleft lip, and where I actually had like the surgery done. I had multiple surgeries when I was younger, but there's a spot. There's the same kind of scar tissue spot, like right at that dip on your lip. That
Cupid's bow.
Yeah, that just it will not heal. It's like a constant dry spot. The thing is, like whenever I try to wear any sort of lip stains or lipsticks or anything like that, it wants to fade away because that skin technically is still kind of, even after all these years, it just still feels rough and doesn't go away. So trying to find something that's going to stay in that spot is very hard for me. But I'm definitely excited about yours because I know that anything that, you know, has that effect where you can still eat pizza and it not go away, I think that's going to be good for me.
Yeah, it's definitely something good. Like I think I've reapplied it maybe once or twice, but I've worn them throughout the day. I've also been a huge fan of the sunflower face scrub. I'm like the opposite of a lot of my friends. They like to have like really moisturized and like glowy skin. I'm like, if my skin feels wet, I feel dirty, slimy. So like I love the face scrub because oftentimes when I get face scrubs, like I was using Clearasil for a while, which was great for acne, but I just felt like parts of my skin were getting patchy and rough. The sunflower scrub, I didn't have the feeling of like any residue left over. It was exfoliating my skin to where like I didn't have any dry patches, and my skin I felt like was a little bit more firm and it just felt like a lot more supple.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I have that issue too. I do not like anything oily on my skin.
No.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
I like a matte finish on my face.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, which is like, you know, might not be the best for my skin type because I think that I'm naturally like more dry skin, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't care. I just don't want to be slimy.
No one wants to feel slimy.
No, no, I don't partake in lotions very much at all. I know I should moisturize every morning and every night and that whole doohickey, but I just felt like I was going to get tons of acne if I did. So I was always scared too. Whereas I have friends who are like professional makeup artists and they're like moisturizing every day and their skin's flawless. I was like, I know that I'm just being crazy. But this is how I feel. So
yeah, I agree. Like I can't stand like just the thought of anything like when people make the homemade like sugar scrubs and stuff like that, and they use like oils,
olive
and stuff as,
oil,
like the base. Yeah, exactly. I'm just like gross. No, thank you.
I know. And then I'm like, my hair's gonna look oily. I've got really thick hair, and I was like, man, I touch my hair all the time.
But yeah, so that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's my little story. Not so little. It was very long, and I appreciate everyone listening and not turning off at that point. Come on.
Oh no. I mean, I think it's always good to know where the beginnings of businesses come from, so that way they understand the hard work that goes into it, because it's not an easy thing to do at all.
Definitely not. It's definitely like having a baby that you don't feed, but you feed time and energy. Well, you do that with a regular baby. I'm just going to stop with my analogy because I was not going anywhere with it. That was a fail boat right there. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Gotcha.
It's a lot.
Gotcha. Well, we appreciate you being here today. I know that we are definitely excited to have you and to have you in our partnership, especially to bring awareness to cold cases. That's something that has always, like, whenever I would watch different shows that had unsolved anything, it always like tore at me, because I'm like, okay, somebody has to know something out there.
Exactly.
You know, like these things just don't, I mean, somebody knows something. That's just that's my whole point in it. And so for you to have that much passion about it is very awesome. So we appreciate that partnership as well, so we can bring more awareness to cold cases that hopefully will one day be solved. that would be great.
I would love that. Like, just to know, like, you know, even if we help just one person, like that would just I'd be like, all right, I'm good. I can die now. I
Right.
did what I needed to do in life.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. It's like, okay, so we made some sort of impact.
I know, I was so blown away when we first spoke, because originally it was supposed to be like an advertisement, like one hand washes another, and it just like turned into a full-blown partnership. And I'm like so stoked because you guys are fantastic.
Well,
Oh, thank you.
well, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks for being awesome.
Well, thank you for being awesome as well. We appreciate you being here. Okay, so today, our cold case, I wanted to do something a little local, but it was weird because I wasn't expecting as local as I got. Because what I did was Google search, because Google is everything to me. I did a Google search on the most unsolved, I guess you could say, but not really like most unsolved, but more so like it's kind of like one of those cases where they have the information, but they just can't quite get that one piece of the puzzle. And it's just going to take that one piece of the puzzle for this one to be solved. And so that's the reason why I chose the one that I chose today. Today, I'm going to be talking about Jessica Gutierrez. Jessica Gutierrez was born June 5th, 1986 in Lexington, South Carolina. She was born to her mother, Deborah, and they do mention a father, but they don't ever really mention his name that I could find. I did try to look, but I couldn't find any information on him. And apparently, he was a suspect in her disappearance for a while, but he was not in the area when this happened, so he was kind of ruled out. But here's what happened. On the night of June 5th, 1986, Jessica was 4 years old, and she had an older sister who was in the room with her. Her sister was 6 years old. And when Deborah woke up the next morning, she saw that Jessica was missing. Of course, her mom immediately goes to Jessica's sister and is like, hey, what happened? Where's Jessica? And she's like, well, a man with a magic hat came in and took her. Of course, that sent her mother into a frantic mode in which she put effort into trying to locate her. She called family, she called friends. She's like, and she called obviously the police to try to figure out what happened. They started looking into her disappearance. They started realizing that there was not a lot to go on. There was, some evidence that they had located. They did find a fingerprint. And then, like I said, they just basically started trying to follow as many leads as they possibly could. They found a man that was a family friend, and he had already spent time in jail before. He was serving time for auto theft and rape. I should probably have put a disclaimer on this, but I do apologize. So it's going to mention some things that may be triggering, so I do apologize. Anyway, they tried to get with this particular family friend and ask him for some information. Whenever he did get arrested, though, they matched the fingerprints from his arrest record to the ones that were found. Deborah, said that she found some fibers in his car that she says were linked to Jessica. I don't know why she was the one having to do this, but apparently she's the one that's been putting in the work, essentially. I mean, of course, obviously, any mother who has a missing child, I would assume, is going to put in as much work as possible.
She's going to go a little crazy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel for Deborah. She's kept this case going. She's tried so hard to get as many leads as she possibly can. Even Jessica was featured in a missing persons spot in Unsolved Mysteries in 1990 on January 24th. I tried to look for that episode because I have backlogs of all of the episodes of Unsolved Mysteries that I can, look through. And for some reason, don't know why, on every platform that has Unsolved Mysteries, as far as the shows are concerned, this show is the only one missing. Don't know why. It's frustrating. They don't have this particular episode. And so what I ended up having to do was do a deep dive into YouTube to find it. Finally, I found it on YouTube. But they even looked into Deborah's ex-boyfriend. He was, his fingerprints didn't match anything that was inside the bedroom or outside of the bedroom. Also, we're looking at the fact that her ex-boyfriend and this other guy that they were considering as a suspect, they said that these two people were acquainted, but the two of them say they have no idea who each other were. So they kind of squashed that. But here's the thing that makes this case a little bit frustrating, more so than the fact that they still haven't followed up on some leads that, that are just like right there in their faces. In 2007, a story came out from WIS News 10 stating that Deborah had reached out to Sheriff James Metz, who was the lead on her daughter's disappearance. And she had been working with him for, years and years and years, since 1986. And she was like, I really, really, really want to find some more information. And in fact, her comment was, I am desperate. Put yourself in my place. I want my baby.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that breaks my heart. That just breaks my heart. And she said what happened was, sorry, I'm reading through this one because I'm trying to pull some quotes from it. She said that in this conversation with Sheriff Metz, which, by the way, was recorded, and I tried to get a copy of the recording, but it's really hard to find, and I was hoping I could have it. So hopefully if I do find it before I do the editing, I can put it in like here to plug it. But if not...
Insert edit.
Yeah, insert edit. But if not, I have the actual transcript from the call. She says, Sheriff Metz says, what do you want me to do? Someone's got to hold your hand or out working. And she says, listen here, I don't need you to hold my hand, and I don't need you to get smart with me either. Sheriff Metz, I'm not going to get smart with you, but you're not going to get smart with me either, lady. I've been up all night long working on your case, and I don't need your smart mouth. She said, oh, really? Sheriff Metz, no. Deborah, when I ask you questions, I need answers. Sheriff Metz, we'll give you answers when we got answers to give. Now, you mess with me, I'll pull all my people off, and we'll go home and go to bed and forget about your case. Deborah.
Oh, shit.
What could the president do about that? You mean to tell me that if I mess with you, you would pull all your people on this case and go home and forget about my child? Sheriff Metz, that's right.
Well, shit. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. That made me mad.
Yeah.
That really pissed
Especially
me off.
like put yourself in the position of being a mom. If something happened to my child, I would go in through every channel I could think of to try to find my kid. There would be no mountain I would not climb to try to find my child.
Especially considering like the year that is, because from what I understand, she was abducted in the 80s, right?
1986, and this was in 2007 when this happened.
Yeah, imagine how many people she's seen work on her case and then them drop off because they just kept running into dead ends. Like, I would be crazed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She probably felt like she was alone.
And that's the thing. Like, a lot of this story is the fact that she's put in so many hours. She's talked to so many people. She's worked with so many people. And for this, for this to happen, she was just like, what in the world? Well, she said, Deborah said, it was not a threat. It was no threat by no means. It was a promise because for 21 and a half years, somebody went home and forgot about my little girl.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. And they asked, the news crew asked, Sheriff Metz, hey, did you actually really pull anybody off of this? And he said, no. He said, we had SLED involved with us, so we couldn't pull it off if I wanted to. I was very frustrated with Miss Gutierrez because she was accusing me of playing favoritism, and she was accusing me of not handling her case the way it should be handled, which hurt my feelings. Fuck your feelings, dude.
Oh, so you got butt hurt and decided to threaten to take someone off of a case of a missing child? Man, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck that guy. Deborah said, it was made very clear, you're a nobody. I don't care what happened here. I'll do things the way I want to do them. And when I want to do them, you're either going to go along with it or I'll take my men off the case and we'll forget about your little girl. You're like, oh my God. Yeah.
Dude, that's fucked up.
And around the time, I think the president was coming to visit. And so he was having to pull some people for that to work, obviously detail, how that goes whenever that, someone of that status comes into town, they have to pull resources for that. But he wasn't like, and I'm not defending him by any means, but it wasn't like he was taking the case away. He was having to redirect resources, which is, in my opinion, understandable. So, but for the way that he acted, though, that was uncalled for.
And the way he threatened, that was uncalled for.
Yeah.
And then next part in the tape, she goes, and what about the public that elected you for you to be in office? And he says, they can elect me or not elect me because I really don't give a damn what they do.
Oh, shit. Well, then.
To which she goes, I understand those detectives are tired because so am I. So am I. That's my youngin'. Sheriff Metz says, I know that's your youngin', ma'am, and we're trying to do everything to try and help you.
But are you really for threatening to take people off?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, fuck that guy.
Well, he did get his just desserts, though. Yep, he did get his just desserts. Let me make sure I pull this correctly. Because I wanted to make sure that I have this correct. So it says in this article, former Lexington County James Metz is back at home in Lexington County after being released from a federal prison.
Shit.
What?
In April of 2015, Judge Terry Wooten sentenced Metz to 1 year and a day in prison for his role in a scheme to help immigrants who are in the country illegally avoid detection at the Lexington County Jail. He was running a scheme within the jail. He was taking money.
Well, shit.
Yep.
That's all I got to say about that is, well, shit.
Yeah, so he did end up spending some time in jail for running a scheme. It's very complex. I don't really want to get into that part of it because that's not the focus of the story, but he did have to go to prison and pay a $10,000 fine. It was crazy, super crazy. So he basically kind of got his in a way. And which that meant, though, with him being gone, that meant that a whole new group of people now are assigned to this case, which in a way is a good thing. So it everything always kind of works out for a reason, I think. In September of this year, the new Lexington County Sheriff, Jay Kuhn, says that him and not only him, but SLED and the FBI and their unit in specializing in child abductions have been called in to re-interview neighbors and to put new light into the investigation.
Which is cool, but now thinking about it, that was almost 30 years ago now.
It was 35 years as of June 6th.
Like, don't they say that eyewitnesses are like some of the most unreliable people?
After a certain time period, yes.
That's what I mean.
Like, after so many years, they start to lose recollection. They start to lose a lot of recall when it comes to information that they can give. So in a way, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. But the fact that they're actually going to put more effort into it is great. They've actually stated that they have re-interviewed more than 125 people.
Holy shit.
They said that all of the individuals, well, almost all of the individuals that had been contacted and revisited have been cooperative. This was in September 19th. This is when this is released from WIS News 10. This is like one of my favorite sources, by the way. They have some very interesting news articles.
So very recent.
Yes, very recent. He said that they are going to continue to work with the FBI field office for a couple more days. So this was back in September, but they still haven't given up hope. And have continued to re-interview, re-look back over the information, look back over all of the evidence. So the community has been very supportive of our efforts, and they've spoken with investigators and welcomed them into their homes. We're fortunate to have so many people on our side as we strive to get justice for Jesse's family.
Wow.
Yeah. So here's the possible outcomes or the possible suspects. So one of them is a gentleman, and I do not have his name, and I do not want to have his name because it is still under investigation. But that family friend that we were discussing earlier is. What are you doing?
That ain't me.
Sorry.
That's okay.
That ain't me.
I'm usually blaming Melissa. I'm so used to blaming her.
Gosh, Melissa.
It wasn't me this time. I'm literally sitting still.
It's okay.
No, I dripped a little bit of my coffee on my laptop. I was like, let me wipe that real quick.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
probably a good idea. Save the laptop. But the police believe that is the family friend who did spend time in jail. He even stated in 1987 that another inmate confessed that he had spoken with this family friend, and that the family friend had said that he kidnapped and murdered Jessica. Well, I should not say Jessica, murdered a young girl and then dumped her body in a landfill in Lexington County. And then he said that he would confess if he was given full immunity.
Okay.
Now,
I feel like everyone would want that.
Right?
I mean,
like, I'll confess to anything as long as I have immunity.
Right. But I mean, also too, like, here's my thing. There had to be some sort of workaround. Like, maybe you can serve out the rest of your sentence or something. You know what I mean? Like something to give give the family some answers. But no, full immunity.
I mean,
crime? No.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be, I don't know, because I feel like if they were able to locate the body, at least have something, because like it's been 35 years, probably never been a funeral. Like, at least you would know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There would be some kind of closure.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And that's the thing. It's like, as much as I hate to think about the fact of him having immunity, I think the mother would probably be like, just give me my answers. Where's my child? Like that would be me, in all honesty.
Yes. Yeah. Give me to where, like, I may not need a body, because trying to find a body in a landfill is like a needle in a haystack.
Absolutely.
Especially 35 years later.
Exactly. But I know where she is. I know you did it. I have some kind of closure. I can have some kind of ceremony.
Right. Yeah.
I can be at peace.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, at the same time, it's kind of like, but you also want to see the guy kind of like, get his justice as well, let him
rot.
Yeah.
That's what I would want.
Exactly.
Rot.
Exactly. Interestingly, I'm reading this as a direct quote. He stated that he was wearing a cowboy hat when he abducted the child.
Well, there's your magic hat.
Yep. And it makes me wonder, because they don't mention it in any of the articles that I've seen so far, of whether or not Jessica's sister actually talked to the guy. And if there was 2 young girls in this particular house, why was Jessica the main target? Like, what was it about her that he was like, okay, she's the one I'm going to take?
Well, how much older was the sister than Jessica?
She 2 years older. So Jessica's sister was 6 and Jessica was 4.
Well, picking up a 4-year-old to a 6-year-old.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like, that's a little bit easier. And I know, like, when my son was 4, you couldn't wake my son up. You could pick him up when he was sleeping, and he would have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't want to be devil's advocate here, but
I mean, yeah, that's a possibility.
Just to clarify, were there 3 kids in the room or 2?
There was only 2.
2.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just Jessica and her sister. So yeah. Yep. Now, also, just to kind of give you a little more information on the actual abduction, the intruder broke through the living room window of the house before 9 a.m. The screen and the curtains from the windows had been removed when her family awoke to search the house. So yeah.
That's sleeping in too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For her to get taken at 9 a.m. or before 9.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So that's probably when the mother had woken up.
Yeah.
And was like, what happened? This is crazy. And then went searching for her kid. I would think that it would have had to have happened closer to the 11:30 time when they went to bed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I think if I woke up at 9:30 and my son didn't wake me up, I would be like, okay, what is going on?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because my kid gets up at like 6.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing now. So that's their main suspect will be this man who was a family friend. He'd already, he's actually a convicted sex offender. He's actually on the registry. So yeah. But just to give you guys some information on Jessica, just in case, she is a white female. She has brown curly hair, brown eyes. She has a scar on the top of her forehead and scars on her earlobes from piercings. She has a brown colored birthmark on her right buttock, and she had a wart on her left hand at the time of disappearance. She was wearing a pink and white t-shirt, and they do have her DNA on record for just in case they do end up finding her or, so.
Finding the remains.
Yeah, I hate using that. I did not want to say that.
I know. Leave it to me.
I did not want to say that. Yeah, it just hurts my heart. But if you do have any information about her abduction, you can contact the Lexington County Sheriff's Office Missing Persons Unit for Lieutenant Scotty Fry at 803-359-8230. You can submit it anonymously or you can leave your name. It doesn't matter. They just really, really need this information. Now, there was one thing that I wanted to talk about before I ended this, which I think is very interesting and very neat. There is a guy by the name of Brian Setry, and I did reach out to him, but he did not get back in touch with me in time because I was trying to get some more information through him. He was a law enforcement veteran for nearly 30 years. Now he's a private investigator and the founder of Setry Investigations. They have been working continuously on this case on behalf of Deborah and trying to get more information about what has happened. Also, criminal investigator and investigative journalist Tyler Ryan, who runs a podcast by the name of The Unfinished Files, has actually featured this on several occasions in their stories and has a really good podcast dedicated to the story as well. So definitely but definitely go and listen to it. But they have also started a Facebook page for more information as well. And I'm trying to make sure I didn't leave anything out. It is her information is on the Doe Network. If you're not familiar with that, that's where you can locate a lot of. Sorry for my cat meowing in the background. You know how she is. It's on the Doe Network. Cat. It's also on the Charlie Project, which is also a site for missing people. It's got more information as well on about Jessica. So there's a lot of information out there. You can always reach out to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And again, the Lexington County Sheriff's Office number is 803-359-8230. And that's the story of Jessica Gutierrez.
Again, I hate it when they don't have a pretty bow.
I know. That's the thing about cold cases, though.
I know.
It's sad. Like
It is sad.
I
And
was-
it reaches home a little bit because being a mom, like, again, there would be no stone unturned trying to find my kid.
And Deborah's been doing this for 35 years. 35 years that she's been trying to find.
Bless her.
Yeah. So, but they do, like, I was looking through the links on, this is so cool, but there is an actual website called Unsolved Mysteries Fandom. It's like a Wikipedia for unsolved mysteries. And anytime they feature anything, even if it's just a quick missing persons case, they throw it onto this website. And that's how I found the majority of my information, which I found very helpful and I thought it was very neat. But it's got all the articles from start to finish that have ever been published about her.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that was a big help in the information. But the biggest thing that got me, like I said, was the sheriff's officer who just basically was no fucks given.
Man, fuck that guy.
Yeah. So, but they are, like I said, they have reopened this, so that makes me very optimistic. So hopefully they'll have some more information. So we'll see. But that was just as of September. So it's October now, and maybe they'll find some information out before then. So
especially with the hard evidence with fingerprints.
Yeah. That's my whole thing is like I said, it's just this one little teeny tiny piece that's missing for them to be able to connect the family friend to this particular disappearance. And that's what they need. They need that last little tiny little bit of information. Somebody's got to know something. Like this guy has had, if he talked to his cellmate, he has to have talked to somebody else.
Right.
I mean, they always talk to their cellmate.
Oh yeah, they always do.
Do you know what I mean? Like they always give it all up.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, why? I don't know. Like I said, if he's talking to him, he's got to be talking to somebody else. That's just how it is.
Put an undercover cop in the cell with them. They always talk.
I know. That's the thing. But see, the thing is, though, they tried to get more information out of that particular guy. And it was like, oh, sorry, I just hit my mic. And they were like, oh, well, this is pretty much hearsay. And I'm like with you. Why don't they just record the conversation? That'd be enough.
Just saying.
Exactly. I mean, they could also try to get the guy who was in there with him to, testify against him.
Right. Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of hope in this. So that's the reason, one of the main reasons why I chose this one was because I'm hoping that this one can be solved as quickly as possible. And it's been 35 years. Come on now.
Right. It's been a minute. Y'all, come on.
Yeah. Exactly. So I hope you guys can help. I know that we have some listeners here in South Carolina who have, they live in the Lexington area or had lived in the Lexington area, know something. Maybe their parents, people our age, maybe their parents have said something, know something. I mean, somebody got to know something. That's just how it is. So anyway.
Somebody got to know something.
So yeah, that was the story of Jessica Gutierrez. And thank you so much for Christina being here with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for telling us about Red Rum Cosmetics and your appreciation for cold case files and cold case, just like us. Yeah. Sorry, my brain just now razzled after all that. Every time I read that conversation,
Hey, we have 2 more episodes. I'm going to need you to come on with it.
Oh, just you wait.
Oy vey.
The next one is going to be
epic.
Oh yeah, I stayed up till 2:00 in the morning doing research on this one. So yeah. Anyway, so thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And thank you so much for Red Rum Cosmetics and Christina with your partnership in helping solve cold cases. We hope that everybody enjoyed that little story and can reach out and give some more information. We will have another cold case at the beginning of November, and I'm still trying to figure out which one I'm going to do on that one, but we'll see. And so don't forget, we have 3 episodes releasing this week. It's going to be, I can't believe I'm doing this to myself.
Right? Why? Why?
I know. So, but anyway, thank you guys so much. We hope that we hear some more information soon, and thank you. So, please do us a favor and stay out of the dark. Bye.
Bye.
True crime fanatics. Want to look that is drop dead gorgeous? Dark Podcast is excited to partner with Red Rum Cosmetics. From lip colors to full coverage makeup and even cool as hell merch, Red Rum Cosmetics has it all. I personally have been speaking with the owner of Red Rum, and not only are they amazing as they can be, they also have a special place for cold cases. In partnership with Red Rum Cosmetics, one podcast episode a month will feature a cold case that has not been solved, and maybe you can help by listening and giving tips that can solve a case. Our listeners are getting 20% off their first purchase with code DROPDEADGORGEOUS at checkout. Thank you to Red Rum Cosmetics for their part in helping solve cold cases and for our partnership to bring awareness to these cases.